people, let's get this thing started, shall we? Sorry to keep you all waiting. Let's get it going. So, first thing we can talk about while we get into this is we can give a reaction. What's going on, people? We can give a reaction to this, the first half of the St. Louis versus Michigan game. In this stream, what I kind of wanted to do, the plan sort of was to go over some of the games that have already happened, like kind of give like a little soft reaction to the round of 64. But then, as we can see here, let me show y'all something. We got some round of 32 games to predict, and so what I thought we could do is just go over them. We can even go into mañana and talk about tomorrow's games. Like, for example, there's parts of me that I want to pull for Utah State, and I want to see Utah State upset Arizona. Just because I think just because. So, alright, so let's do that. Glad you guys are here. First thing that I want to talk about, let's get into the first half of what we're seeing today between St. Louis and Michigan. So for some of the predictions that I did get right from the official bracket, let's go over here. I predicted Michigan, I predicted St. Louis, Texas Tech, Alabama. One prediction that I got very wrong is this Miami, Ohio, and this Tennessee game. It's lurking a little bit because I ended up having Michigan and Miami playing each other. But out of these picks and this spot in the bracket, I predicted that Bama and Michigan would end up playing here, and then Michigan would kind of not coast, but you look at all the regions in the brackets between the South, the East, the West, and the Midwest. The Midwest is kind of, it's not easy, but like the path for the team out of the South and the team out of the Midwest, they're pretty easy, versus whoever comes out of the East, I think is going to probably win the whole thing, because you have Duke, you have St. John's, you have Kansas, you have Michigan State, you have UCLA, you have UConn. There's more than one team that you can confidently be like, you know what, yeah, they could probably win the national championship. You look over here, like Bama, Texas Tech, Kentucky, Iowa State, Tennessee. Like, Tennessee's never been to a Final Four historically for their men's program, so it's like Tennessee, you see what I mean? So that's where that prediction feels a little bit more not as bold to say, hey, whoever comes out of the East is probably going to win it all, just because the East is going to be the most battle-tested versus, for example, Florida. Like, if Florida gets all the way down here to the region final against Houston, it's like Florida's biggest test would probably be a rematch against Vanderbilt, which they could probably, because they played them not more than a week ago in the SEC tournament. It's like, okay, we know how they beat us. We're going to reload, get back after them, and get our little get back. And then, oh, look at that, Houston's waiting. You know what I mean? Versus, Duke now has to go through TCU, and then they'll probably have to go through St. John's. And then if they get all the way to the final here, they'll have to go through Michigan State or UConn. So, anyways, that's how I feel about the East. All right. But in this one, some things that I wrote down and some things that you can see with just how this game was going as a whole. The Blinkens, they kept it close for the majority and for the most part, because when the score was still 27-23, like midway through the first half, St. Louis went on a 15-3 run. And then, you live by the run, you die by the run, because after that run happened, they got very cold, and they were not making any buckets. They went through a scoring drought where from about the, maybe the 6 minute mark in the second half or something, They just had a scoring drought where they did not score for almost 4 minutes. But then with about a minute 30 left, they I think it was just a simple layup to get back into it. That made the score 36-46. So, yeah, when you look at the overall score, towards the end of the first half. But when they went on that scoring drought, that's when Elliot Cadeau kind of took over the game. He's had 3 3-pointers so far. He's leading his team with 12 points. And then other, big names for St. Louis, Avila. His shots have not been going in, which I think is another reason why Michigan's kind of pulling away a little bit. You're seeing the chemistry also with some huge dunks, and where was there's a play here. No, that was the free throw. There was one here where Gale threw it up to him. Yep, there it was. The alley-oop dunk from half court. It was pretty sick. And it extended the lead to 10 again to make it 44-33. So I'm interested and I'm curious to see. They're doing some kind of segment now. I got a magician on the panel, but I'm interested to see how St. Louis can come back and if Avila can start to freaking have those shots go down, because we saw it in the first round a little bit. That's how Siena ended up, losing their lead and losing at Duke. Okay, nobody's believing that. No. It just showed his bracket. Then he's like, I predicted all the picks. And it's like, no, you didn't. No, no, you didn't. Because there was one of the, which was it? All right. Now let's go over some of the scores of what happened yesterday. I think the most entertaining game that happened yesterday. Here's the other problem with what happened yesterday is you look at the scores. Look how many blowouts there are. Yesterday, with yesterday's action of March Madness, it was kind of not as eventful as Friday. Wait, Thursday? Shit, what is today? Anyways, but for example, Texas Tech and Akron, 20-point blowout. This was over by half. I will give some credit to Hofstra because they were leading at half against Bama. But then look at this, 108. Where's the Florida one? There it is, 114-55. Bro, there's just, and this UConn Furman game was kind of close, but UConn kept it at length. They were able to keep us safe. St. John's, this game started, 16-2. St. John's absolutely just they full court pressed them from the get-go, and Northern Iowa there wasn't anything. So other than the Santa Clara game and the Kentucky game, I would say the most entertaining probably was the Virginia and the Wright State game, because Virginia had to come back in this one. And then we watched this one, and this one was sad because I picked Miami, Ohio to go pretty far, and I thought they could get the upset, but Tennessee just bullied them all stinking game. Huh? They're talking about Duke. They're doing a Duke segment. All right. Let's go over some of today's games and then tomorrow's. And then I'll give my, where's the bracket? So from the round of 32 and how it goes, these guys are playing today. They're playing a little bit later today. Okay. With with the, I think there would be a lot crazier if Wright State was able to hold on, and then with just how the Kentucky Santa Clara game ended. I think the coach of Santa Clara kind of had a point where he talked about he tried to call a timeout on the final play, and the timeout was not granted. Which I think there's rules like you have to have possession before you call a timeout. So it's a big old nothing burger. But like with how the sequence of events, with how this game ended, where SC makes that bucket and it's like, okay, there we go. There's only 4 seconds, and then just Kentucky, without any timeout. Hey, let's regroup, just from the baseline all the way down at the buzzer to tie it back up. Like it was freaking phenomenal. This game, I'd say the Kentucky game, the VCU game, the High Point game, the Duke Siena game was good. These are the games that I think these are probably the best, quote unquote, best games of the tournament so far. Because, what was, I don't even remember with the Florida. I want to look at the halftime score because it was bad. Yeah, 60 to 60 to 21, dude. It's just terrible. But all right, so let's do some predictions real quick here, and then we can wrap up this stream. Okay, so with Duke and TCU, my only thing with Duke and TCU is Duke showed that they are very vulnerable and can be beaten, considering that Siena led them till about 6 minutes left in their own game. Now, what didn't work and what was going bad for Duke in the last game, there's like this mental psyche where I don't think that's going to happen again. Where, we struggled with the 3 ball here. I don't think we're going to struggle with the 3 ball again. But if Duke, because the other thing with Santa and why I think they lost that game, not only with the shots that were made in the first half that didn't get made in the second half, where luck was not bouncing their way. I think the other reason why they lost that game was they played all 5 of their starters for the majority of the game. And one of the substitutions came with 10 seconds left in the game. And so I'm thinking they ran out of juice, man. Just because, you play your whole game and it's freaking Duke. It's Duke for one thing. And so I think TCU is going to play a lot more subs in this game, obviously. And we're not going to have a 17-0 substitutions fun graph like they did in the other game. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's parts of me that think Duke, they won, but it was kind of such a blow where they'll come back. They might, just beat the piss out of TCU. I don't know. And then it'll come to the Sweet 16 game where it's whoops, okay. We got embarrassed. We almost had to, we had to just string some wins together there and some buckets against Siena, and it took us the final 5 minutes to beat them. And then they end up blowing TCU out, and it kind of just evens them off again, where if they play St. John's or Kansas, that's where we could see an upset. I don't know. All right. And then, but I Duke and TCU, I will take Duke. Out of St. John's and Kansas, I will take St. John's. Because I do want to see that St. John's upset. And I kind of want to see a St. John's Michigan State final here, or St. John's UConn rematch of the Big East. We will see. So yeah, give me Duke, give me St. John's. And then out of Louisville and Michigan State, I was a dummy, and I picked South Florida. Like, South Florida was whispering to me because one of the starters for Louisville had to sit this game too. But I mean, the North Dakota State game, like, it wasn't close at all. So there's parts of me where it's like, okay, was this not a real true test? And then Louisville's gonna give them a little bit of fits. But I'm still gonna take Sparty to get to the Sweet 16. And then out of UConn, UCLA, I mean, UCLA did upset Michigan State in the Big East tournament. They did play it close the other day with UCF. And with how UConn didn't blow out Furman, kind of like how other 2 seeds, I mean, look at Purdue over here against Queens. They blew them out by 30. I still think UConn's going to win this game, but I don't think it's going to be by, like, 10 here. Like, I think this could be a UCLA and UConn, like, I don't think the lead changes too much because there were, oh gosh, which game was it the other day? It was the Wright State game. Wright State had 9 ties and 15 lead changes. What other game? There was another game that was super close that had a lot of ties and lead changes. Anyways, there's something that makes me think UConn could keep this, or UCLA, where UCLA leads for the majority of the game, where they're up by like 4 points, and they keep it within arm's length. But like, so UCLA will be up by 4. UConn will hit a tough basket and one to then cut it down to a 1-point game. But then UConn in transition will then do like a 3-ball to put it back to 4. And there's something that makes me think, whether it's UCLA or UConn, there will be a team that is chasing the whole game. And then with like 7-ish minutes to go in the second half, that's where I think we'll have like 1 or 2 lead changes. But then ultimately I'll pick UConn. Because I think UCLA and Purdue and Gonzaga sometimes, they're one of those teams where it doesn't matter where they're ranked, they're still going to make an impact in the tournament. And I mean, if UCLA gets this win here, I think, if UCLA wins this one, I think there's enough momentum that could carry over into the Michigan State game, because I haven't seen a Michigan State game where it's like, hey, this is very convincing on this team can beat anybody, because I've seen them get beat. So, and then if UCLA gets past UConn and then Louisville gets an upset, UCLA has a chance to get to the Final Four. That's all I'm going to say. So, all right. And then over here out of the West, I want to be stupid and pick Utah State. I know that's not a good thing to do. I'm still gonna take Arkansas. I'm gonna say take Arkansas. I'm gonna take Gonzaga. Because there's something, okay, because I said this with Wisconsin. I said whoever wins out of Wisconsin and Arkansas, they're beating Arizona. I don't see Arizona getting to the Elite Eight. I really don't. But if it's not Utah State who beats them right here, it's probably most likely going to be Arkansas. And then if we have Arkansas against Arizona, I will pick Arkansas to be here in the Elite Eight matchup. Now, Purdue and Miami, I'm going to take Purdue. And out of Gonzaga and Texas, I am going to take Gonzaga. I did have And then out of Gonzaga, Purdue, I had Gonzaga. So this prediction from this little quadrant here, I picked BYU, Gonzaga, Miami, and Purdue. And then I have Gonzaga. So the only one I got wrong was BYU-ish. Because I don't know. I don't know if Purdue can get past Gonzaga, but with how this game ended, I think Purdue could, just because it was. Oh, speaking of, there we go. There's a huge 3-ball by Vila, and it was cold in the first half, but here he comes in the second half. Cuts it down to 4. Nicely done, St. Louis. Yeah, I think the St. Louis Michigan game is gonna still be close. I don't think Michigan's gonna blow them out by 40 points. No way. No way. Because I think what we're gonna see now is what's the not complimentary, but scroll down here to Florida. So Florida blows out Prairie View. This is not going to be a 100-60 game. Like, there's parts of me where I don't even think Florida can beat Iowa. I said that so stupidly. Like, this could be a 2-possession game. And this Vanderbilt Nebraska game, this one's going to come down to a clutch bucket at the end. So, all right, let's keep going. Let's keep rolling here. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the West. I'm going to be dumb. Yeah, give me Utah State. I don't care. And then Arkansas, Gonzaga, Purdue, Michigan. I did pick Michigan. Bama. Give me Tennessee. And then give me Iowa State. I think with how this game ended, well, actually, no. Well, I think either of these teams. Damn it! This here. Oh, Virginia's gonna win. Virginia's gonna win out of this because we still got to hear back from the Iowa State injury, and if he's injured for the remainder of the, he rolled his ankle the other day. Like how I'm looking at this is Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's ever gone to the Elite Eight. Tennessee. No, farthest. But have they've reached the Elite Eight. So they've reached the okay, so they can reach the Elite Eight. They've never reached. Okay, then give me. Okay, then still give me Tennessee. The reason why I was saying okay, Virginia's going to win this is because if there's a stat out there of like they've never reached the Elite Eight, because we have seen stacked Tennessee teams before in the past. It's like oh shit, then that means Virginia's going to beat them, and then either one of these teams Virginia's going to beat because if Iowa State's missing their main dude, I mean, take Cadeau or Lindbergh, like Michigan would not be the same team. Take one of the boozers off of Duke. Duke would not be the same team. And so that's where I think Iowa State has a little bit of a weakness. And so Kentucky might get this game. I could see like a little, but I'd put injury on why Iowa State loses this game if he doesn't come back from the ankle injury. But then also I think Kentucky could also be kind of frauds because Santa Clara had them. And not only did Santa Clara have them, they also made that clutch 3 bucket at the very end that took a miracle buzzer beater to tie it to send it to OT. So I think both of these teams are very beatable, and both of these teams have been exposed there. And I would take... I'm still going to pick Iowa State. I'm still going to pick Tennessee and then Tennessee to move on and then meet up with Michigan. Um, but I don't know. If Kentucky wins this because of the injury and then we have Tennessee and Kentucky, that's probably where Kentucky will falter. Tennessee Tennessee and Houston and who else? UConn, Duke, Gonzaga, Purdue as well. Tennessee's been one of those teams that has consistently, for the last 3-4 years, gone to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. Like they've made a tournament run every single year, and so that's why I'd also pick Tennessee to beat Virginia too, because Virginia hasn't gotten, like, their win that they just had broke their streak from the last tournament win was the national championship in 2019. So yeah, in 2021, 2022, 2023, and like all these years since, they'd lose in the first round. And there's parts of me where they barely won this one against Wright State. It's like, okay, boys, we did it. We reached our goal, and then they go out against Tennessee. I don't know. I could be wrong. All right. Let's keep it moving. Houston and Texas A&M. If Houston can just bully Texas A&M the way Texas bullied St. Mary's, and Houston will be fine. But I'll still pick Houston. Seeing what Illinois did, where at one point Penn was down by 40, I don't know if VCU can win this game. I'm still gonna be a dummy and pick VCU though, because I did in my original bracket. Because I don't know what the hype behind Illinois is. A lot of people have Illinois in the Final Four, and even if Illinois wins this, like, I still think Houston is on a redemption timeline right now, where Houston and Florida is still going to be my region final prediction in the South, because I don't know, there's parts of me where it's like, I mean, 2017 not UConn, North Carolina, like they went on their redemption tour after losing in the final. So all right, so those will be my picks. I'll pick VCU. I'll pick Houston. Out of Vandy and Nebraska, at first I picked Nebraska, but parts of me want to see a Florida Vanderbilt rematch where Florida gets them. But if Vanderbilt beats Florida here, though, it gets real interesting between Vandy and Houston, because I think if Vandy can get to the region final against Houston, we'll see. So yeah, give me Florida, give me Vandy, give me VCU, give me Houston, and then I think we did the predictions up there. So yeah, so Duke, St. John's, Michigan, UConn, Florida, Vandy, VCU, Houston, Tennessee. I don't know about this one. Oh, huge dunk. Okay, 66-57. Yeah, give me Iowa State. I mean, it's Kentucky. It's Kentucky, for crying out loud. If Kentucky was like a 1 seed or a 2 seed, yeah, give me Iowa State. And then Tennessee, Bama, Michigan. Purdue, Gonzaga, Arkansas, and Utah State. I know. Not kind of chalking it up, picking the better seeds. Because I really don't. out of the one seeds, the one seed that I think could be upset first is probably Arizona. And then, because I do. I think Duke is better than Michigan, but I definitely think Michigan's better than Arizona and Florida. And then out of the two seeds, first one to get upset probably Iowa State today because of the injury. Maybe, I don't know. All right, we're gonna if I can speak. Sorry guys. It's early. It's early. My voice is still raspy if you guys can't tell. That's who I'll pick. That's who I'll pick for today. But be sure to hit that like button, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. These were my thoughts and who I had rolling for the round of 32. So, yeah. Let's see how the remainder of this game goes. They've kept it close, sort of. Let's go follow live. Linderborg. It just showed before it went to commercial. Linderborg had a huge dunk. So, we'll see. We'll see how the remainder of this game goes. So, all right, guys. I'll end the stream here. Oh, geez. Everybody duck. Everybody duck. Here he comes. All right. But we're going to end the stream here, guys. I thank you all for hanging out. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, they're shooting kind of the same with the... Well, actually, no. Michigan's taken a significantly less 3 balls. Largest lead was 12, though, and they've been able to keep kind of cutting it down. So we'll just see where the remainder of this game goes, though. But I thank you guys for hanging out with me. We'll see you in the next one.